Daisy Backstar, Chapter 5 The Engineers. Original story by Daisy Backstar. All original characters by Daisy Backstar. Audio and video by Daisy Backstar. Artwork and editing by Daisy Backstar. Original script by Daisy Backstar. Last review, March 8, 2024. Attention! This is a story separated into chapters. Look for the index or playlist to find the correct order of chapter progression. The job of scientists is to understand things. Engineers' job is to create and build things. The engineer does not need to understand what he is doing as long as he understands enough for his construction to work correctly. Thanks for watching The Secret Life of Daisy Backstar. The Secret Life of Daisy Backstar, The Engineers. This afternoon, 3 engineers in suits arrived walking through the Foundation laboratories. All the bald, shaved-headed engineers dressed in elegant suits are accompanied by military soldiers from the colonial government. There is a white-skinned engineer, a dark-skinned engineer, and a mixed-race engineer, but all 3 look identical. Engineers work for the Thai industry and they are strongly supported by the colonial government due to the government's interest in developing new weapons. Many scientists are running back and forth trying to hide their scientific projects before engineers can discover their secrets. Science here is useless. Knowledge for its own sake is worthless. Things only have any value when they are transformed into a product that the Thai industry can sell or negotiate. The engineers say, repeating the same thing to each other. These scientists are bums who produce nothing. The engineers are useful. They produce weapons and equipment for the colonial warriors. Scientific knowledge is worthless. It only makes the workers more disobedient. The scientists only get in the way. The military say. For the military, engineers are intelligent and valuable, but scientists are considered stupid, crazy and dangerous. The engineers choose the projects they want to take from the scientists and the military helps to take the works of the scientists by force, and the scientists who try to oppose are arrested as criminals accused of conspiring against the colonial government. Dr. Marissa runs to the Botanical Laboratory No. 05 to warn Dr. Richard Backstar of the danger. Dr. Richard, you need to hide your plant child quickly, the tie and suit engineers are coming this way. Dr. Marissa said. Then Richard Backstar carries little Daisy into the hallway. Let's hide in the hydroponics laboratory. There's nothing there that the invaders would find interesting or that the tie and suit engineers might want to see. The doctor explains to Daisy. Dr. Marissa Strangerwitz takes 2 bottles of distilled alcohol from a bag and she hands 1 bottle to Dr. Richard Backstar. Let's pretend we're under the influence of alcohol, so we don't answer questions from either the suits or the military. Hide Daisy and then pretend to be drunk. Explains Dr. Marissa Strangerwitz. You are a genius scientist. Says Dr. Richard Backstar to Dr. Marissa Strangerwitz. Dr. Marissa smiles and then she runs to help the other scientists. Daisy and Dr. Richard Backstar run to hide in the hydroponic laboratory. Daisy, you have advanced mimicry skills, that's why you can stay in this humanoid form. Could you change into a form that you can go unnoticed in the hydroponic garden environment? Maybe you'd be safer if you were seen as a normal plant. Ask the doctor. I can try, but I don't know if I can change so quickly without having even tried anything like this before. Daisy responds to the doctor. Daisy passes in front of a poster for the marine biology laboratory and she stands hypnotically staring at an image of a dolphin. Look how beautiful, it's so beautiful. It looks like some kind of small whale. I love it, I really love it, says Daisy. Then the doctor holds Daisy's hand tightly and pulls her towards the hydroponic laboratory garden. Sorry Daisy, we don't have time for this, you need to hide now, says the doctor. Then Daisy changes her skin color to green. Doctor, you have to carry me, I'm turning my legs into roots, I have to look like a hydroponic garden plant now, says Daisy. Daisy becomes more and more like a normal plant and progressively loses the appearance she had of a human child. The doctor carries Daisy to the hydroponic laboratory garden and finds a pot to plant her like a normal plant. Daisy lost the ability to speak human language when she shape-shifted. Daisy, my little plant, you're going to be fine. Don't be afraid, says the doctor. Then the sound of approaching colonial soldiers' footsteps comes closer and closer. Dr. Richard Backstar opens the bottle of alcohol, swallows a large gulp, then throws a good amount of drink over his head and on his own clothes. The doctor drops to the floor and pretends he is sleeping in an alcoholic coma. The colonial soldiers enter the hydroponic laboratory and begin breaking some vases. Look at all the useless stuff, the damn scientific foundation spends money on these things, we need more weapons and not this rubbish, says one of the soldiers. Another soldier examines the fallen body of Dr. Richard Backstar. Look what a disgrace, another bum scientist drunk. This disgrace of scientists only drinks and spends money from the colonial government to buy drinks and drugs, says the soldier. Then the soldier plucks a leaf from Daisy that was in the shape of a normal plant. Do you think these plants are used by scientists to make drinks and drugs? Asks the soldier. Probably so, we should burn it all down, don't you think? Says the other soldier. Absolutely, we'll get the flamethrower from our armored vehicle, said the soldier. When the soldiers retreat to look for incendiary weapons, Dr. Richard Backstar quickly gets up and carries Daisy into a cleaning room in the next hallway and locks the door, leaving Daisy hidden out of harm's way. Daisy is very worried because she doesn't want the other plants in the hydroponic garden to be burned, but in normal plant form she can't ask the doctor for help. Then she hears a voice. Thank you for caring about all of us, but now you need to save yourself. Save yourself. It's the other plants telling Daisy to save herself in a language that only plants are capable of hearing. The doctor doesn't listen to what we say in plant language. Even though we're far away, I hear you, says Daisy to the other plants that can communicate even if they are separated by doors and walls and a great distance. You live in two worlds, you live among humans and among plants. We wish we had met you sooner, live well plant girl. Goodbye, little sprout, the plants said to Daisy. So when the soldiers returned with the flamethrower, the plants fell silent, the plants died in silence, they didn't communicate or say anything when they were killed by the soldiers. Daisy feels like crying over the death of the plants, but only another plant could hear her cries while Daisy remains in her normal plant form. Dr. Richard Backstar hides with Daisy until the tie and suit engineers and colonial soldiers leave. When everything calms down, Dr. Marissa Strangerwitz runs to the hydroponic laboratory garden looking for Dr. Richard Backstar and Daisy. But when she arrives at the hydroponic laboratory, she has an emotional shock when she sees that everything is burned. Dr. Richard, little Daisy. But what happened here? For the love of my protons, but what happened here? Says Dr. Marissa. Dr. Richard Backstar emerges from the cleaning closet in the next hall. Dr. Marissa, we are here. Dr. Richard calls for his friend. Then Dr. Marissa Strangerwitz sees Dr. Richard Backstar carrying a plant the same size as Daisy. Oh, my neutrons. Is that Daisy? What happened to her? Asked Dr. Marissa Strangerwitz. Daisy is a plant. This whole time she was imitating the form of a human child, Now she has returned to the form of a normal plant. Said Dr. Richard. Can she turn back into a humanoid girl? Asked Dr. Marissa. I don't know, she's never done this before. I hope so, she'll turn back into the form of a human child, but she must be too tired to transform now. The transformation isn't easy and she tried hard. Said Dr. Richard Backstar. The hydroponic laboratory was completely destroyed. I was scared for you and Daisy. Says Dr. Marissa. Thank you very much for your help. We wouldn't have escaped without you, Dr. Marissa. Says Dr. Richard Backstar. Daisy, are you okay? Aren't you hurt? Asked Dr. Marissa Strangerwitz. While she is in plant form, she cannot respond. In my old laboratory there is a climate-controlled capsule that can help Daisy by providing light and nutrients while she recovers. Says Dr. Richard Backstar. I'll help you take Daisy there. Said Dr. Marissa. The two scientists managed to carry Daisy to the basement of Dr. Richard Backstar's old laboratory, a dark laboratory that he used before moving to Botanical Laboratory number 05. In the old laboratory there was an inclined capsule that maintains controlled humidity and light inside. Daisy in the form of a plant is accommodated inside the capsule, which also provides nutrients for her roots. I can now reactivate one of my first experiments. We will be able to talk to Daisy even in plant form. Said Dr. Richard Backstar. Then the doctor attaches some electrical sensors to Daisy's roots and leaves. See how the sensors collect Daisy's electrical activity, just like an electroencephalogram exam of the same type that can be done on humans now records the plant's neuroelectrical activity, so the computer can capture Daisy's mental activity and print something whatever she wants to say. Ask her anything. Plants are very sensitive, she will listen. Says Dr. Richard Backstar. Hello Daisy, do you want to be a little girl again? We're waiting for you. Says Dr. Marissa. Then the computer prints a note. No. Plant human. No. It was written in the note. The system is not very efficient. I think it needs some adjustments. Says Dr. Richard Backstar. Daisy, do you like board games? Asked Dr. Marissa. The computer starts printing another note. Dolphin. 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 Says the note. Daisy, you have to go back to human form so you can see the dolphins. Said Dr. Richard Backstar. So Daisy likes dolphins. I'm going to buy Daisy a stuffed dolphin when she turns back into a little human girl. Said Dr. Marissa Strangerwitz. The computer prints another note. Difficult. Difficult. More time. It was written on the note. I think Daisy needs more time, it's difficult for her to transform. I'll stay here with her. Thank you for your help, Dr. Marissa. Says Dr. Richard. I need to help the other scientists. All the scientific foundation facilities are in great chaos. I hope Daisy recovers soon. Says Dr. Marissa Strangerwitz. Thank you very much, Dr. Marissa. I'm sure Daisy is also thanking you in the plant language that we humans are not capable of hearing. Doctor said. Dr. Richard Backstar. Dr. Marissa Strangerwitz gives a little wink before leaving.